tato jyaudirayet nashtaprayasho bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 16, verse 16. We're reading the transcendental qualities of Prithu Maharaj. Dhrida vrataha satya sandho brahmanyo vridha sevakaha sharanya sarva bhutanam manado dina vatsalaha. Dhrida vrataha, firmly determined. Satya sandha, always situated. Satya sandha, always situated in truth. Brahmanya, a lover of Brahminical culture. Vridha sevakaha, a servitor of the old men. Sharanya, to be taken shelter of. Sarva bhutanam, of all living entities. Manadaha, one who gives respect to all. Dina vatsalaha, very kind to the poor and helpless. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the Brahminical culture and will render all service to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The word Vridha Sevakaha is very significant. Vridha means old men. There are two kinds of old men. One is old by age and another is old by knowledge. This Sanskrit word indicates that one can be older by the advancement of knowledge. King Prithu was very respectful to the Brahmanas and he protected them. He also protected persons advanced in age. Whatever the king would decide to do, no one would be able to stop. This is called Dhrida Sankalpa or Dhrida Vrata. Om Ajnanti Mirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Din Bandhu Jagatpate Gope Esha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namastite Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrijbhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriyai. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Ishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine. The king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the Brahminical culture and will render all service to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. Okay, I am going to start this class with one question. What is the difference between Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita? What is the difference between Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita?
Krishna himself said that. Krishna himself said about Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavata is written by.
And Bhagavad is for Krishna. Krishna's Leela. Yes.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita
is explained from
Bhagavad Gita is self said by Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita is the Gita
given
given by
Bhagavad Gita
Krishna
is
to
saying
Arjuna.
5 functions of the life, whereas Srimad Bhagavatam is describing 6
pastimes of Krishna.
Answers to 6 questions of the sages in Namaskar.
One is love song of Krishna, the other is pastimes of Krishna.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. Yes, Vasudevan Prabhu, welcome back.
Yes, thank you, Mata. Bhagavad Gita is the quintessence of Upanishad, with which the God himself tells through Arjuna. Whereas in Bhagavatam, the same thing is told by the rishis through stories, which are real ones, the real stories. So it is
devotees of the Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Thank you very much, everyone. So one key fundamental difference, which I think we all unanimously agree, is that Bhagavad Gita is spoken mostly by Krishna. There are other orators as well. And Bhagavatam is about Krishna. Yes? Do we agree?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
So you see, then tell me, reading this verse, which instruction of Krishna are you thinking about from Bhagavad Gita? firmly determined, situated in truth, lover of Brahminical culture, rendering service to old men, giving shelter to surrendered souls, giving respect to all, merciful upon the poor and innocent. Which chapter of Bhagavad Gita are you thinking about when you read this? What instruction of Krishna is coming to your mind?
Chapter 12.
Sarva Bhutanam and the
Chapter 16.
Lakshana of Bhagavata. 12th chapter. Lakshana of
Chapter 12.
Okay. What
Chapter
else?
16. 16. Daivi and
16,
Asuri
which in what context?
Daivi,
The qualities,
Daivi and Asuri Gun.
the 26 qualities of the divine person.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? What chapter? No? Okay, so see, we're going to talk about this kind of meditation today in the verse of Raghunath Goswami as well in Instruction to Manasiksha. So when I was reading this, honestly, what came to my consciousness was chapter 17. But I am, thank you so much for sharing chapter 12, chapter 16, the qualities of a devotee are also very valid. But when I was reading, this came to my mind. That's why I brought this up. So chapter 17, when Krishna talks about verse 14 to 16, the austerity of the body, mind, speech, and mind. So when he talks about the austerity of the body, speech, and mind, so he talks about in this austerity of body, worship of the Supreme Lord, Brahman, spiritual masters, superiors like father, mother, cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, non-violence. So all Brahminical cultures, right? And then speaking truthful words. So King Prithu will be a lover of the truth, beneficial, right? Not agitating others, or he's going to give respect to others, he's going to give shelter to others. And then in the mind, gravity in thought, satisfaction, simplicity, self-control, purification of one's existence. Okay, so this came to my consciousness when I was reading, but thank you so much for sharing for the qualities in chapter 12 and chapter 16 also. So a few pointers here. This is the projection of how the ruling under this saintly King Prithu is going to be. Vriddha Sevakaha. Vriddha means old man, and Vriddha, Prabhupada is explaining there are two kinds of old men. One is old by age, another is old by knowledge. Both have to be respected. Somebody can be young. My spiritual master a few years ago told us he was in Slovenia, in Europe, and then a 9-year-old boy gave Srimad Bhagavatam class to everyone in the morning. So because that boy is like a devotee basically. So you see, he's 9 years old, and then there are so many, everyone else is going to be older than him, obviously. And he's giving Srimad Bhagavatam class in the morning. He's given the Vyasasana to speak. So you see, that's old by knowledge. One can be older by knowledge, and one can be old in age. Both have to be respected. And he's going to be very respectful to Brahmins, and he'll protect them. Very important, as we have been hearing, the main default or main fault in King Vena's kingdom was what? What was main fault in King Vena's kingdom that led to the whole fall down?
His cruelty
His
for himself. Considered himself to be supreme.
Disrespect to Veda, Shastras, and
nice.
Rishis.
He did not respect the saints and sadhus.
Very nice. So basically, he did not show any respect to the scriptural injunctions, to the performances of the rituals, or to the brahmanas. He actually contrary asked them that they should respect him, and they should not go to the paramour, which is Lord Vishnu. So, but King Prithu is going to be just the right and the ideal for us, that if we want a society where there is satisfaction, where there is a spiritual progress for each one of the living entity, then we have to give respect to the brahmanas and protect them. Of course, we have to identify who's a brahmana, who's not a brahmana. There's one devotee in ISKCON. He's a trauma surgeon. He is very senior. He's from Prabhupada's time. His initiated name is Marathi Das. So once we had the retreat, and he was there, and he was sharing his pastimes, and then he shared that he actually opened 5 hospitals in the United States to help the devotees, specifically the temple devotees, for their medical health. And then the people were recognizing how you are a ISKCON devotee, or you are a devotee, not just ISKCON, but a devotee of Krishna, is by the attire, by the tilak, by the kanthi, and by the bead bag, right? And by the way they spoke. So he said, what happened eventually, that people got to know about it, and then the local people just started, dressing up so that they can get free medical care. So that's not, so then he had to close it down. So basically that's not a Brahminical, that's not a Brahmana. We studied this in one of the verses of Raghunath Das Goswami, where he's saying that donkey urine, remember the verse of donkey urine, that how a devotee in the temple who is not a renunciant, so Swanishta Bhakta, so how that devotee is bathing in donkey urine, one of the ways was that thinking oneself to be very advanced, or being very attached to the external, how is my tilak straight or not, is my dhoti or sari pressed or not. Those are important, but most important thing is that what is happening within. Okay, so so one has to be able to recognize who's a Brahmana and who's not a Brahmana. And then as Prabhupada talks about that, when in order to give prasadam, I have heard this from senior devotees, in order to give prasadam, let's say you go to temple on Sunday feast and somebody has to give prasadam, then Sunday feast ends in a feast, then what is the order of giving the prasadam? The order of giving the prasadam ideally should be that small children and elderly people should be offered first, then Brahmanas and women, and then the rest of the people, right? Somewhat like this. I may be a little bit wrong here, but basically that's the order, not like who can grab first. If we are fighting to, on top of each other with the consciousness of I should get it and someone else shouldn't get it, then we don't have faith in Krishna. So we don't have faith that Krishna will provide for me. Okay, if there's a fight, we read in Krishna book that during Govardhan Leela, the Brajbasis were actually having so much fun that they were actually throwing milk products on each other, ghee, butter, milk, cream. They were throwing it on each other in a spirit of a festival. That's different. But here, if I am like fighting in a line so that I can get it, and I should get it first, and I should be the one eating it, that shows lack of faith, complete lack of faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so King Prithu is not going to have this, and he's going to be very determined. Dhrida Sankalpa or Dhrida Vrata. The definition of determination is not, is actually truly is that I am, how much of a determination I have made up in this life to progress in my Krishna consciousness. That's Dhrida Vrata. Bhajate Mam Dhrida Vrata. Right? You've heard this verse in Bhagavad Gita. Bhajate Mam Dhrida Vrata. What is the complete verse? I don't remember. Bhajate Mam Dhrida Vrata. That person actually worships me with complete determination. Maybe someone can look up. If you don't remember, I don't remember either. Because that's Dhrida Vrata. I have a great fortune of being in association with the devotees in my life, where I see them, working day in and day out for for Prabhupada's mission. And sometimes I have asked them that, don't you get tired? And the answer I have consistently gotten from all these devotees is that this life for Krishna. So that's a very advanced stage. This life for Krishna is a very, very advanced stage, but there are devotees like that. Okay, so take home point, think about what verse of Bhagavad Gita is coming to your mind, what chapter. And also think about, like, Vridha. Vridha means two things. One can be old in age, another can be old in knowledge. Both, we have to give respect to both, because King Prithu is setting an example for us to follow. Also, if I want to advance in my life in any front, even it is a material advancement or it is a spiritual advancement, I have to respect the Brahmanas from the core of my heart and give protection to their practice. Also, how much of a Dhrida Vritaha or Dhrida Sankalpa am I able to make every now and then go back and listen to your YBP. You know, I'm doing one course and it says YBP. Do you know what is YBP? YBP. Just what is it? YBP. It's your big picture. So I'm just kidding. It's actually in my course book it says that YBP, your big picture. Okay, so so what is your big picture for yourself in your life? Are you just living it and living a free-spirited life, or you got some Radha Vrata and control and controlling your controlling your progress in Krishna consciousness? Any questions, reflections, or realizations in this, or I would like to go ahead. Yes, no, maybe so. Mana Siksha?
Mana Siksha.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. Gaganji, Prabhu, if you can stay after the class, I'll be happy to talk to you. I'm sorry for delaying everything. Okay, so verse 11, basically the last verse, because 12th verse is just benediction. So far we discussed verse number 8. Raghunath Das Goswami is advising the mind to drive away the wickedness and to actually glow in the nectar of love, which also means get the darshan of one's Swarupa, like what's my real form in Golok Vrindavan, and also inspiration to worship Radha. Now he is one of the associates of Radha Rani, so he is mentioning about Radha Rani a lot. But if somebody else has as another, like friends, like for example, a relationship of friendship, if you associate with Lord in that way, or if you associate with Lord in the way of a paternal rasa, right? So then this is a template. Raghunath Das Goswami has given a template as how to practice Raganuga Bhakti by following a Ragatmika Bhakta. Okay, we discussed about it before. And verse 9 was meditation on Krishna, his associates, his pastime places. Yes, what were his associates in verse number 9? What were his associates?
Lalita,
with Lalita,
Vishakha,
Vishakha, and the pastime of Krishna, Radha Kund and Govardhana.
places are Radha Kund and Govardhan.
Dear, and focusing on
Krishna,
Radha Rani.
Very nice. So Krishna, Radha, Lalita, Vishakha. Okay, in what consciousness are we remembering Lalita?
Lalita for a dear friend and a paternal love of Yashoda. And paternal love of Yashoda also.
Yashoda Mata for
parental love.
Who incites paternal relations, paternal feelings in Mother Yashoda? Who actually, when she comes in the view of Mother Yashoda feels motherly to her. Who incites paternal relationships in her? Okay, and then in what relation are we remembering Vishakha?
As a Shiksha Guru?
Shiksha.
And a daughter of Yamuna.
Very nice. A daughter of a sun god. She is Jamuna. Very nice. And then Govardhan and Radhakund. And yesterday we studied about Radharani. What are some of the things that you remember about Radharani from yesterday?
She is very beautiful.
Yeah. She lives even the Indra's wife. She outshines Rati.
She was
please tell me.
Like snake.
She is very beautiful. She has braid which is like a serpent hood. And
her hair
she
is like a snake.
There.
The braid of newly married.
The wives of Rati, wife of Gauri, and
Leela.
Sachi Devi.
Defeats the pride of newlywed gopis.
Gopis of Chandravali, the gopi.
And Lakshmi and Satya.
Very nice. Thank you. So, he's basically concentrating on Radharani. So we go a little further on that today. It is if you think it's too much, we can take this verse in 2 days. Okay. Samam Shri Rupena Smara Vasha Radha Giri Bhrutur Vraje Sakshat Seva Labhana Vidhaye Tad Gana Yujaho. tad ijyakhya dhyana shravananati panchamritamidam dhyanan nitya govardhanam anudinam tvam bhajamanaha. Okay, who wants to sing? Nobody? Okay, go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Samam Shri Rupena Smara Vivasa Radha Girivitur Raje Sakshat Sevala Vana Vidaye Dat Guna Yujya Tad Ijakaya Dhyayana Shravana Nati Pancha Amritam Idam Dhyayan Nitya Govardhana Anudinam Tvam Bhajamana. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you. Divya Mataji, go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Samam Shri Rupena Smara Vivasarada Girimruto Vraje Sakshat Sena Labhana Vidaye Tat Gunayujo Tadikyakya dhyana shravananati panchamritam idam dayan nitya govardhanam anudinam tvam bhajamanam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Dikshit.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Samam Shri Rupena Smara Vivasa Radha Giri Bratur Vraje Sakshat Sevala Bhana Vidaye Thatkana Yujo Tad Ijyakya Dhyana Shravananati Panchamritamidam Dhyan Nitya Govardhanam Anudinam Tvam Bhajamana.
Thank you, Mataji. I think I requested in the beginning of the class that this has to be sung in a Jagannath Ashtakam meter. Okay, so please sing in Jagannath Ashtakam meter. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Namaskar. Samam Sri Rupena Smara Vivasa Radha Giri Vratur Braje Sakat Seva Labhana Vidhaye Tad Gana Yojoho Tad Ijaksha Dhyana Sravana Nati Panchamratam Idam Dhyayan Nitya Govardhanam Anudinam Tvam Bhaja Manati Manaha.
Thank you very much. Okay. Manish and Mataji and Shubhara Prabhu, please keep your hand raised. Maybe you can read the translation. Oh mind, you should every day drink the 5 nectars. Okay, everyone has to remember this. Worship, glories, meditation, listening to divine pastimes and offering obeisances. And worship Govardhan according to the rules. In this way, follow the instructions of Sri Rupa and obtain the direct service of Shri Radha Giridhari, who are captivated by the God of amorous love in the company of their associates in Braj. I guess we all can say Haribol 1, Haribol 2, Haribol 3. Oh mind,
You should every day drink
Glories,
meditation, listening to divine
pastimes,
Offering
worship Govardhana according to the instructions of Shri Rupa
instructions of Sri Rupa and obtain the direct service of
captivated by the God of amorous
love of their associates in Braj. What are the 5 things? What are the 5 things that we have to do? Worship,
glory, meditation,
meditate, listen to divine
pastimes,
and offer obeisances.
Okay, whoever wants to repeat those 5 things, please raise your hand. Okay, Manish and Mataji. What are the 5 things?
Worship, glories, meditation, listening to divine pastime, and offering obeisances.
Very nice. Shubha Rao Prabhu. Thank you, Mataji. Shubha Rao Prabhu.
Worship, glories, meditation, listening to divine pastimes, and offering obeisances.
Very nice. Mittal K. Mataji Prabhuji.
Worship, glories, meditation, listening to divine pastimes, and offering obeisances.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Surya Prakash Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mata. The five nectars are worship, glories, meditation, listening to divine pastimes, and offering obeisances.
Very nice. Ayushi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Worship, glories, meditation, listening to divine pastime, and offering obeisances.
Very nice. Vilas Vispute.
Five nectars are worship, glories, meditation, listening to divine pastime, and offering obeisances.
Very nice. Okay, now, who can tell me without looking? What are the five nectars one has to drink? Give the mind to drink every day.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Worship, glories, meditation,
listening to the divine pastime and paying obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
All right, five nectars: worship, glorification, meditation, listening to divine pastimes, offering obeisances. Okay, now Bhakti Vinod Thakur Prabhupada gives commentary to this verse, and he says that all these five nectars should be done in relation to Govardhan. So worship Govardhan, glorify Govardhan, okay, meditate, and then hear the pastimes of Krishna. So, so in meditation, there are five sub-stages. So what is this? Worship, glorification, meditation. Okay, in meditation stage, there is a little bit more emphasis to the mind that how are we going to meditate. This, I love this part. I don't know if I'll be able to do justice in explaining it, but you might need to hear from senior devotees. You might need to read it. I may not be the proper person to explain it, but let's try it. So in meditation, there are five subheadings. Okay, the third aspect of third nectar is meditation. Under meditation, there are five subheadings. First, meditation, and this is explained by Srila Prabhupada in 8th verse of Nectar of Instruction also. So one is Shravan-das, like listening or hearing, but hearing meditatively. Hearing as if, you know, you are really relishing or becoming one with the subject matter. If you I remember many years ago when I was in college, I used to read Srimad Bhagavatam before going to college, you know, chant and then read maybe one verse, make notes, and then go to college. And I remember reading from first canto Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 9, Bhishma Dev's chapter, prayers of Bhishma Dev. In that, Bhishma Dev was praying to Krishna. When Krishna, he was remembering on laying on the bed of arrows, and he was praying to Krishna that he wants to meditate on that form of Krishna when on the battlefield of Mahabharata, Krishna picked up a broken chariot wheel and he was running towards Bhishma Dev, and then his yellow chadar, Krishna's chadar, was, you know, coming off of his body, and he has beads of sweat on his face, and he was running. So my mind got stuck in that. I guess like I was like completely absorbed. I felt like, wow, this is like, so somewhat like this. It was 20 years ago, but I still remember that feeling. So somewhat like that, they carry it. So that's like hear, but here also means reading, like meditatively. Not like I'm hearing also, and I'm also, I mean, you can hear meditating while driving also, but hearing this also, reading newspaper also, replying message on the WhatsApp also, or, you know, watching TV also, not like that. Okay. And the second stage of the third stage of meditation is apana-dasa. Apana-dasa means accepting, accept what you're hearing, accept it to be truth. So hear meditatively, and then that's how we drink the nectar. We are teaching the mind to drink the nectar. This is the second stage of meditation, which is apana-dasa, means accepting what we are hearing. Okay, and then after accepting, Then third stage of the meditation is smaranavastha. Smaranavastha means remembering, discussing. That means like after you read a verse of Bhagavad Gita, you read meditatively, okay, and then you accept that, okay, Krishna is like this, and then you introspect that where are you going to apply it in your life. So basically you're going to remember. How are you going to introspect? For example, one devotee once told us in Mangalore when he was taking our Sunday class that the color of the sky is blue because it's a reflection from the body of Krishna. So Krishna's body is blue, so it's a reflection from Krishna's body. So whenever we look at the sky and it's blue, just think that it's a reflection from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Or for example, in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita in universal form, Krishna, and if you relate it to second canto Srimad Bhagavatam, where also the Vishwarupa Darshan is given, then the description of the universal form is given that, okay, when you look at the mountains, you think of mountains as what part of Krishna's universal form? The mountains as stones as
Govardhan.
You're not connecting. The bones of the universal form. Okay, if you look at the trees and shrubs, then they are related to
Hair
on the body. Very
Hair
nice.
on the
Like
body.
that. If you look at sun and moon, then they are actually what part of Krishna's universal form?
Eye and mind. Eye
So
and
like
mind.
that. So this is called remembering or smaranavastha. This is the third stage of meditation. Okay. And then in third stage, Krishna repeats this in 2 times in Bhagavad Gita. A good teacher repeats. He's a good teacher. He repeats, especially towards the end. He repeats again. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. Think of me in your mind. So how are you going to think of him if you're not, hearing about him meditatively, or if you're not accepting what you're hearing, and then if you're not applying it? So we can't think. Our mind needs that kind of absorption. Okay, and then in third stage, this is further in meditation. This is very interesting. There are further sub 5 types that when we are meditating on Krishna, then we are going through this stage of recollection. For example, interrupted meditation. For example, that okay, Krishna killed Aghasura. Oh, I have to actually wash my clothes. Oh, Krishna actually killed Bakasura also. And we were reading in Manasiksha that Bakasura represents the demon which represents hypocrisy. Oh, I haven't packed lunch for my children yet. You see, so you meditate and then you go to something else and then you meditate and you go. So it's like interrupted. Yes, do you have an experience of this? I'm thinking about Krishna, but my phone rings and then my friend calls. Yes, that's like Vasavan Prabhu, I love your head going back and forth, bobbing. So, okay, so that's like recollecting. So we're recollecting, but it is interrupted kind of a meditation. But that meditation, that interruption will go to the second stage of this if we are actually going back to the same cycle of hearing attentively, accepting, and then remembering. Okay, so then comes the second part of meditation, which is absorption, which is uninterrupted. Like I told you, that if you're driving or if you're walking or even if you're in your house, Krishna says manmana bhumi aplonayor vayur 5 things like earth, water, fire, air, and ether are my separated energy. So you look at your bricks or your cement or your paint in your house, or you look at the whatever stones, marble, granite, or whatever, tiles or thatched roof, whatever you have, you look at it and then you think that, oh, this is actually Krishna's external energy. Then you look at yourself, oh, actually, I'm also Krishna's external energy. I'm not external, but Krishna's energy. The body is like this. Or if you are reading Krishna book every day, then you can meditate on 1 pastime a day. I like Aghasura's pastime a lot, since Krishna killed the snake. Krishna went to the forest. Krishna stopped his friends from going inside. So because the mind naturally has this idea of meditation. There's nothing unnatural here, right? Isn't it our mind always meditating on something or the other, always thinking that, oh my God, who's going to win the elections now? Oh my God, the prices are going up. Oh my God, Diwali is coming. Oh my God, the
Yes,
Shara is coming.
Mataji.
Oh my God,
Yes,
how are my
Mataji.
children doing? Oh my God, did I do this? Did I pay this bill? Oh my God, I need a new phone. Aren't we always like thinking random things?
All the time.
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji.
All
Yes,
the time.
Mataji.
all
So we
time.
just have to change the subject. Okay, give mind a different subject. There's nothing unnatural in meditation, and you can only give it by attentively hearing, okay, which includes reading. Okay, so interrupted becomes uninterrupted. And then further it goes into this kind of a meditation, which is very nicely explained in 3rd Canto Srimad Bhagavatam 28 verse 34. Okay, the mind is used as means to attract the Lord, as one attracts a fish to a hook. So actually, basically, this is still material. One hasn't reached the spiritual elevation yet, but somehow or other we're using our memory power, our eyes, our objects around us to actually think of Krishna. How can I think of Krishna in this situation of my life? Okay, but what happens then if one goes on thinking about Krishna and goes to that stage, then the 4th state of meditation is called Anusmriti, where one is easily able to remember Krishna everywhere they go. If they are going to work, if they are cooking, if somebody is listening to a class, somebody is doing japa, somebody is cleaning, or somebody is chanting Gayatri. So basically outside our Gayatri, outside our chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are able to take this consciousness of remembering Krishna everywhere. Is it not a big problem in our life that we are okay when we are in the class with each other, but minute we turn off the glass, then where is Krishna? Yes?
Yes.
Is it a problem?
No.
Okay. So like that. So why is it a problem? Because go back to the first thing, meditative, my hearing is not meditative. My varan smaran, my accepting of the scriptures is not very authentic, or it needs to be worked on. And I also need to work on my remembering and the material way. And then again, the verse from 3rd Canto 28 chapter verse 34, that when a materially conditioned mind, when the mind is forcibly engaged upon the form of the Lord, this is called nirbija yoga or lifeless yoga. For the yogi does not automatically engage in the personal service of the Lord. So it's not pure devotional service. We are forcing our mind, still forcing it to think, but it is still called nirbija yoga or lifeless yoga. But thinking about it, doing it again and again, doing it again and again, we come to 4th stage called samadhi or apana-dasa, where the material consciousness attracts the spiritual consciousness. Material consciousness does not become spiritual. The material samadhi does not become spiritual, but it attracts the spiritual consciousness. I'll give you an example. In Radha Govinda temple, it's been since 2006, as far as I can remember, when Radha Govinda came to our life. Okay, since then, we are trying to make them a proper worship place. They have been in this rented house for so long. Okay, but trying, meditating. I remember Namanishra, and we're sitting and we're talking that we should have a temple, we should have classroom here, we should have brahmachari ashram here, we should have prasadam hall here, we should have this big preaching books here, this here, right? So doing. When Krishna becomes pleased by the by the austerity and purity of the devotees, then he gives it. Okay, so he gives it. So it's getting materialized because the material samadhi has attracted the spiritual aspect of it. Okay, that's what happens with us. And that's what happened with Prabhupada calls this stage as spiritual television with the Dhruva Maharaj, which will come in a minute. So in the beginning, the mind is employed in attracting the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in the higher stages, there is no question of using the mind. When one is constantly thinking of the Lord, that is called living yoga. So before it was lifeless yoga because we're forcibly thinking, but it becomes constantly thinking, which is living yoga. Damodar month is a good month to practice this forcible yoga, and then Damodar will give mercy to us to make it living yoga. And then we see Krishna outside of us. Like Dhruva Maharaj was able to see what is in his heart outside. Okay, like that. So Rupa Darshan. Okay, so these are the 5 stages. What are the 5 stages again? What are the 5 stages? It's been
hearing,
so long. What are the 5 stages?
accepting,
Worship.
interpreting,
What are the 5 nectars? Worship,
Glories, meditation, listening to divine
pastime and
regarding the
offering
divine pastimes,
and
offering
offering
obeisances.
obeisances. Offering
Very
obeisances.
nice. What are the 5 nectars? Worship,
Glories,
meditation,
meditation,
pastimes,
offering
obeisances. Offering.
Very nice. And then I just went over the different stages of meditation that we go through. Very common. We all have it. That when we are sitting with each other, when we are in the temple, then it's very easy. The absorption and the flow of Krishna consciousness is so easy. But the minute we get out of the temple, the air changes, the people changes, the consciousness changes. But then there is a key to do that now. How do we carry it everywhere? Yes?
Yes, Mother.
Okay. Any questions, clarifications, or reflections, or realizations? Or too much? Was too much? Vastevan Prabhu?
I think everything is quite absorbing, and I just wanted to say one aspect of Prithu Maharaj, or the quality of a king. We were talking about a couple of days back. That's about justice. If I can talk on that a little bit. There is
not too long.
Yeah. There was a king called Manuniti Chora 2000 years ago, who ruled over a greater part of South India. He was so absorbed in justice. He was epitome of justice. It's if you come to Chennai, and especially to the heritage site, the Madras High Court, you would see the statue of Manu, the Manuniti Chora, the king. And there, at the feet of the king, or the statue, I mean, you will see a huge bell. This bell was called the Bell of Justice. And this is a true thing. Manuniti Chora was a real character who lived 2000 years ago. He was a great monarch. He had all the qualities of a good king, and one of these is to establish justice, irrespective, that is neutrality in giving justice. So it seems his son once, while he was riding a chariot, he ran over a calf of a cow. Now the cow, and the calf dies, the cow goes to the king and strikes the bell. The king comes out and he asks the cow, what has happened? Now the cow describes what has happened. And unhesitatingly, the king tells his soldiers to take out the chariot and kill his own son. So his own son was killed by the chariot, the way he killed the calf. So that was establishing justice in those days. Manu Niti, that he was following the in spirit what Manu has said about justice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's a question in the chat. Rule to worship Govardhan. What is the rule to worship Govardhan? Generally, such worship has to be received from one spiritual master. That's what I have heard from my spiritual master. That if you are installing a deity, then it has to be verified from, if you have a Diksha Guru or Siksha Guru, either one of them have to, they need to know you, and they need to know your, because those rules, those mantras, and those regulations are given, if somebody wants to begin to worship the Krishna, the safest and the most safe zone is Gauranitai. They don't take offense, and they're very loving. If somebody is establishing Radha Krishna in their house, or Jagannath, Subhadra, Baldev, then one has to go through their guru, okay, and then they will be able to get the proper guidance or proper worship, because they're not dolls, they're not idols, they are archivigrahas, live. Okay. Yes, Mataji. Reena Gupta Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, can I repeat the 5 stages of meditation for my understanding?
Yeah, but that was just to mention. I didn't expect anyone to remember them. That was just to like, by the way,
Yes.
that's what happens.
Okay. It's like, it's first is hearing, and the second is accepting, third is smaranavastha, and fourth is absorption, and fifth is anusmriti to samadhi. Is it right, Mataji?
Mataji, so maybe I confuse everyone. So the sub-stages of meditation, Shravan Das is first stage, like you're hearing meditatively, and then Varana is accepting it meditatively, and then Smaranavastha is that how are you going to remember it, or chanting in ecstasy, in other words, meditatively. And his third stage has 5 sub-stages that we discussed: interrupted, uninterrupted,
And recollection, and absorption and meditation.
Recollection is interrupted, then uninterrupted is absorption, then meditation is concentrated. This is till this stage is material, and after this comes anusmriti, where it becomes you're able to remember Krishna wherever you go or I go, and then comes the samadhi. And then the 4th stage of meditation, third stage has 5 subtypes, and the 4th stage was samadhi, and the 6th stage was 5th stage is darshan. You completely like see the Lord eye to eye. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Gaganjeet Singh, I don't know if Mataji or Prabhuji, you can message me. I shared my number with you. Please message me. I'm sorry. I should have done it a long time ago. And I'll be happy to talk to you. Okay, no other questions, reflections, realizations. And tomorrow we conclude with a lot of auspiciousness by Krishna's mercy. Rangnath Das Goswami's Manasiksha. Thank you. Thank you, Krishna. Vasudevan Prabhu, you're in Chennai now?
Yeah, yes.
Not in
I came
Australia
back.
anymore?
I came back
Okay.
2 days ago. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. Devotees at the temple, thank you so much for giving us this platform to connect. Hare Krishna.